Okay, good evening. Today we are so happy to have session on happiness, an interactive session on happiness. So today we are having our guest, Professor Dr. CG Kavitha. She's an internationally acclaimed inspirational speaker known as Happiness Woman, counseling psychologist, psychotherapist, psychometric test professional, teacher trainer, and there are several credentials add on to your name and title. So I welcome you. You can give a detailed introduction about yourself.
I think, I mean, there is nothing much that I would be talking about myself. I think probably during the course of interview, we'll understand better, but definitely I would like to talk about my work. I mean, for the past 11 years, I have been working on consciously bringing in happiness onto people. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to create happiness. I'm only trying to consciously make people understand that happiness is something that they should be consciously looking forward, and they should be consciously experiencing it on a day-to-day basis. So till now, I have touched around 3 lakh lives, and my goal is to touch 1 million lives before I leave this planet Earth. And I think that is the shortest introduction I can give about myself. Thank you, Dr. Hari Krishna, for this wonderful opportunity. And I'm sure that it would help some students to really probably understand life and then the sense of happiness about it. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, not only students, it will be a helping source for many people, irrespective of different age group, because we are all very much fond of the state happiness. We are always we want to be happy. So I had gone through some of your YouTube videos regarding some interviews you had given in it may be in Telugu. I had seen the show regarding happiness. So according to me, I want to just interact with you with starting one thing. What is the exact definition of happiness? Because for a student, getting a chocolate may be a happiest thing. For an adult, going to an outing or maybe going for a picnic, and sometimes for a researcher writing a research paper or finding something, for a doctor doing a surgery, will be vary depending on our own interest and type. And sometimes during the negative time also, we are finding happiness from the struggles, from the pain, and we are converting it into something else. So what is the exact definition according to you? What is your definition of happiness?
Dr. Hari Krishna, unfortunately, the happiness has been associated with some kind of achievement. As you mentioned, the whole list of this is an area where I'm trying to really change that cognitive distortion or the thinking error what a human being otherwise possesses.
Yeah, exactly.
We tend to see happiness when there is an achievement. We tend to see happiness when there is a success. We tend to see happiness when there is something, a position that we have been waiting for. Unfortunately, happiness has been more associated with some kind of outer benefit or outer thing in life. But what we fail to understand on a day-to-day basis, getting some kind of achievement in a span of waking up time of 24 minus 8 hours, it's not possible. So because it is not possible to get this to get some kind of achievement, so does it mean that we are not really happy? Unfortunately, the happiness has been associated like that. But if you really notice, happiness is something that has not got to do with some kind of achievement, because there is an important thing that we all need to understand. There is something called a concept called the hedonic adaptation. Like, let us say that we've been working so hard, as you rightly said, a researcher has been working so hard to submit a paper, and he has submitted the paper. How long does that happiness be with that person? Probably till the time people call him and say, wow, that's such an excellent work you have done. Or probably for 1 year, for 6 months, or probably till he submits the next paper, right? And the same thing is the case even with an achievement. Let us say that I have been waiting all my life to get to get a job, a career, to build a dream home. How long does that happiness stay? Probably till you be in that home, till you do the griha pravesh of it, till your friends and say, wow, such a lovely thing it has been into. So there has been a concept called hedonic adaptation, which states that the kind of achievement what a human being derives, the kind of or the emotion or the depth of happiness does not stay with the person for a long time. It could be happiness or sadness, any emotion, it doesn't stay with the person for a long time. But what we tend to really understand, I will not define a happiness because we are not talking about a theory. We are talking about something like how do you consciously bring in happiness? So can we see happiness in other things otherwise? Can we be happy the moment we wake up the next morning to understand we are still alive? Is that not a big reason? Because not many people get that opportunity. Many people pass away in the sleep. People don't get the opportunity to see. Can't we be happy the moment we get into the balcony to see something so beautiful and it is giving a treat to the eyes? Can't it be a reason for happiness? Or probably you're eating a favorite meal and it is giving you some kind of joy. Can't we be conscious about that happiness? So my whole idea of happiness is something that we have to really consciously experience in day-to-day situations, and get away from tagging happiness to some kind of achievement, success, or possession. Because this is the way we have been hardwired since our birth. We are not taught how to be happy. In fact, that happiness is being discussed at the family only when there is an achievement or a position or some kind of a success in some friend. I think it is high time that we move away from it. And because the reason why I insist on this, if you know pretty well that as per WHO, the number of people who kill themselves or to take away their lives by suicide is quite high. It could be just because of a failure in an exam. It could be because of a separation in a relationship. It could be because of a breakage in a relationship. So why are we attributing that happiness only when I succeed, I'm happy, or else I'm not happy? This is not the mindset that we need to bring in. I think we need to bring in mindset wherein the happiness has to be consciously realized, not through achievements or not through successes, but even otherwise, how do we bring in this happiness into a day-to-day instance? And so my definition of happiness is, don't attribute your happiness to the successes because it doesn't stay with you for a long time. It doesn't stay with you for a long time. I work so hard and wait to earn a 1 lakh salary per month. And how long am I happy with that? After 6 months, 1 year, I think I'm eligible for 1.5 lakhs. 1 lakh is too small. The kind of work I have done for 1 lakh, getting this 1 lakh, it doesn't stand anywhere. It doesn't make me happy anymore. So I think it's high time that we don't attribute happiness to the successes or to successes only. We attribute happiness, or we consciously derive happiness in our day-to-day waking up time by practicing various strategies. And this is the way I look at happiness. I don't attribute it to any success.
One thing is, it was an eye-opener regarding, because I started with such a question, a typecasted question, what is the definition of happiness? Another thing is that always when we are following our passion, because now I am dreaming for a dream car, dream job, dream house. When I'm achieving it, I will be aiming for another thing. It's a continuous process. Humans are like that. When we are in a always we want ourselves to be in comfort zone, or we want appreciation from other, recognition in the society, because naturally it's like human psychology is like that on another level, where psychology is a part of life, where we can't say that the value is abstract. It may be changing to person, and sometimes we can consider the other state, that is the other than the eternal mind, the peace or satisfaction of the inner mind. So what is how, for example, a negative situation in life, as you told earlier, some problem with the relationship, family, or regarding our career or somewhere, how a person can be happy in such a situation?
Yeah, this is like a very important question, because this is a kind of that really helps people to stay joyful and to stay happy. The first thing, the most important thing, most of the times, if you really notice, like, why we are not happy, let us first try to understand why we are not happy. Then I'll come to how we can be happy. Why we are not happy? The first thing, we are not happy because the kind of expectation that we had on a particular situation is not meeting up to the required outcome, like what we expected from that. That is reason number one why we are not happy. Reason number two, we are not happy because we have a fear for something. It could be, if I have to really classify fears, there are 5 kinds of fears that really makes us unhappy. The first one, fear is one of the oldest emotions that has been put in a human being. Right from the day the human being or any life that starts surviving, fear has been the greatest emotion. There could be five kinds of fears that predominantly stops us or make us not experience or accept a situation, That could be the fear for death. It could be a fear for mutilation, that you are losing your arms, legs, because if you find people who have a phobia for the heights, they cannot get onto the surface because they are worried that they might fall and break their legs or arms or something like that. The fear for mutilation. The third one would be the fear of separation. That is the reason why when there is a breakup in a relationship or a divorce in a relationship, people are not moving forward and they are into depression because they are not able to take that separation. And the fourth one is fear of losing the freedom. It could be something like, I do something wrong, and if I am put in the jail, what will happen to me? What will happen to me? I lose my freedom. I'm given food, I'm given shelter, I have company, I have everything, but what I lack is lack of freedom. Fear for losing freedom. And the fifth most important thing, the most important thing that we often keep facing in our lives is fear of self-esteem. What will happen if I'm insulted? If I'm failing in the exam, what will my parents think about me? What will society think about me? If I'm divorcing from a very abusive relationship, what would the society think about me? If I'm losing my business, if I'm going low, what would society look at me? This fear for insult, self-esteem, sense of worth, which is the predominant fear that is there in every human being. If you notice any negative situation, there is a fear that falls only under these five categories. It cannot go beyond this. Some category it falls into. So if you notice, like during a negative situation, because there is a fear for something, we are not ready to accept that fact. We are not ready to accept that emotion, what is in us. Because we are not validating that emotion, what we are experiencing right now, we are not ready to find a solution to it. Because if you notice, even if we look back into our lives, if we face a problem, most of the times we are only thinking, why this happened to me? What will society think about me? Why me? I'm such a nice person. I have been helping people. And because nobody thinks the person is bad, everybody thinks the person is good. So being a good person, why this happened to me? What did I do wrong? Why is my destiny like this? Why am I like this? Most of the times there is so much of self-protection about the person that we don't really look into the solution. Most of the time is wasted there. Why me? So when there is a negative situation, the first most important thing is, let us accept we have a problem. Because if somebody is coming to me, the first thing I tell them, but don't say that there is nothing, you'll be all right. You're not really finding a solution to the person. A person with let us say that a person has a suicidal tendency or an ideation and comes to me and I say, nothing to worry, you need not worry about it. It is not going to solve the problem. The most important thing in any given situation is, how do you really accept that situation? How do you make the other person validate that emotion? So first, validate that emotion, accept that situation such that you are sure you have a problem. When you are sure you have a problem, emotions keep coming and going in. Don't worry about it. Your objective is, most of the times the fear what we face is exaggerated. What would society think about me? What would people think about me? To be very honest with you, Dr. Hari Krishna, not many people think about you. There are a couple of people who think and they're busy with their own lives. They don't really bother about it, right? So what we need to understand, let us not be so much emotional about it. The emotions do keep coming in. Let us try to control it. And let us say that is okay. And if we are not able to control the emotions, let us think back into our past. We would have faced many situations like this. How many difficult situations we have faced and how we have overcome. That gives us a positive self-esteem that, yeah, we are better. We can do better. From a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, we are getting on or trying to bring ourselves to a situation where we start trying to find a solution. And the third most important thing, first is validation of the emotions. Second one is, rather than being emotional, let us look back into our past to see how many achievements have we done earlier too. And the third most important thing, and for every problem that comes in, there is always a solution. We have to believe that. Unless until it is death, that the person is no more existing, as long as a person is living, there is always a solution. And if we think back, I always tell this to my students or to my listeners, I tell them, the problem of today is a beautiful nostalgic memory of tomorrow. It's a beautiful, because when we hear the success story, every success story has a sad story behind it. We are so much attracted and we get inspired by that sad story. But when the person is undergoing that sad situation, he's not happy. He's not happy. But after some time, he says, yes, I've succeeded. Every problem that we face today is nothing but a nostalgic, beautiful nostalgic memory of tomorrow. I think if we start thinking about it, the solutions, we have to find solutions to the problems, because we don't find solutions to the problems. There are solutions always. So what if I fail? We have an option. So if I fail, and we are only worried, what will people think about me? We are not worried if I fail, what will happen to my future? We are only worried, what will my parents think? What will society think about me? I think the self-esteem factor is something that we need to be clear about, and we should start trying to see some solutions for the problem. And if that failure element, and we should start moving out boldly, come out of that negative element zone and see how we can see ourselves in a positive way. I think once we start experiencing this, and this should be hardwired in the brain of a person on a day-to-day aspect, on everyday element, because suddenly you're keeping quiet and you are the same behavior. If there is a big problem, you cannot change the overall behavior. It has to start right from now. You wanted to call your friend, you didn't call your friend is angry on you. It could be as simple as that. So how do you really pull that and patch up that relationship? I think it should start on a day-to-day basis. It should start on an everyday basis. You wanted to do something, you failed somewhere. So how do you really come back to see that you're becoming successful again? I think it is a hardwiring that we need to practice, make it a habit, such that we start seeing things and we are not worried if we are into a negative situation. And I think this is the way you actually move ahead in life.
So exactly. So as you mentioned, we need to find the solutions. Nowadays, Absolutely. We can see we are running away from the problems because we are not able to take a decision, or as Dr. Kavitha has mentioned, that we are always thinking what the society is thinking about me, what my parents are thinking, what my spouse is thinking. And we are shutting ourselves to a not comforts or a depression side. So ultimately, solutions are within us and we have to find it out. And we are the reason for the question as well as the solution. And I want to add one more thing, and it can be a question also. Like in Hindu methodology, we are having Srishti, Sthiti, and Samhara. The most easiest thing is the Samhara. We can destroy. It's very easy. And the most difficult thing is the Sthiti. That is, we have to maintain the situation or establish ourselves and through maintain the life. That is the most difficult, because we have to handle different kind of people. We have to face struggles. We have to be happy in all these situations. And the initial stage also somewhat it is considered as easy, but there is some inertia should be there. But the most difficult thing is that the maintenance. So what is the relation between this thing in our real life? How to maintain a good life while changing the struggles into happiness throughout the life till the death?
I would like to bring in the terminology which is required for a very successful life. To start up anything in life for a beginner, the most important thing is the intelligence quotient, IQ. Your IQ matters a lot. IQ could consist of abilities, it could consist of skills, it could consist of your knowledge about a certain thing, it could consist of an attitude towards a certain thing, it could be anything. So for a startup situation, IQ is very important. We have to really come back to your quote, and I'm trying to give a quote in English. So later, people started wondering, the IQ of the person is very good, but why is he not moving forward in life? Why is he stuck up there? After a middle management, why is the person not moving forward in life? Then Daniel Goleman said that no, EQ is equally important, because EQ consists of like how much you know yourself and how much you know others, how much you empathize with others, and how much motivated you are in a given situation, and how much you are able to maintain a relationship, a PR, a social relationship with your environment. Then even after that also, people started noticing that there is IQ, there is EQ, but still why people are failing? despite having a EQ and a good IQ, why people are failing. Then they have realized, researchers have come out with the new quotient called adaptability quotient. It is called AQ. Adaptability quotient is your ability to see yourself getting acclimatized or getting used to a change and settling in that change comfortably. To give a small example, I think when I was quite young, we used to have a TV called Dynora, right? After that, the big color TVs have come into picture. After color TVs, you have plasma TVs coming in. Now you have a home theater kind of a thing coming in. If you notice, if Dynara would have thought that is the ultimate product in life and we will not go further, we would have stopped it with Dynara. We would not have moved forward in life. I think there is a strong insight into the situation. Every human being, every thought, every situation is not complete. We evolve as an unfinished product. We are all unfinished because we think it is complete. If there is a sudden change in life, we are not able to be stable and we go hayway and we are totally confused about a given situation. So most important thing that we need to understand, we are all unfinished products in the market. Any change that comes in we become a better person. The COVID has come in and people have started sitting between the four walls. Now, without spending much money on the travel, without spending much money on the logistics and everything, people are sitting at their own homes, and between the four walls, they're able to do so many webinars, as simple as that. They're able to do. Probably, I was able to do around 10 to 12 webinars, 10 to 12 talks when we were traveling. Thanks to COVID, it is my 129th webinar or 130th webinar. I'm not sure about it. In 1 year span, I'm talking of. It is possible. So every problem, every situation gives us a creative aspect of becoming further, becoming better. Today, it could be COVID. Tomorrow, it could be something else. So when there is a disaster that is coming in like this, how do we really utilize the time and make ourselves better? So I think every situation that comes in life, let us first try to understand the fact that it is something that is making us evolve, because we are all unfinished products. Because we think we are perfect. We think we are ultimate. Because we think we are perfect, if there is a change, we are not stable during that change. We have an emotional turmoil. We are not able to sustain that change. So adaptability quotient, the most important aspect apart from your IQ and AQ is AQ. Without AQ, there is no survival at all. Companies should think, because as students, you're all engineering students, I do understand that very well. Because when you are getting into a company, if you don't have an AQ and say, I know only this and I'll do only this, you will not move forward in life. You need to be adaptable. You need to know. Because until you develop a mindset for adaptability and you believe that you are an unfinished product, you will start accepting the change easily. And there can be sustenance. When there is a sustenance, there is an emotional stability. And you are able to accept that situation, and you are only thinking about solutions in that particular problematic situation. Rather than thinking, why this to me? I only know this. Now we are into a big problem or into a big failure. I think this is something that one has to agree and accept and change the mindset accordingly, such that it becomes easy for us to accept the change.
So I'm very happy to know about the term AQ, adaptability quotient. And so far we had seen some of the people who are very intellectual and highly qualified and working in big companies or research areas or whatever it may be, they may be a failure in their life. They may not be able to maintain a good relationship with their family, their friends.
Absolutely.
They are quite something who can't adapt with anyone.
Yeah.
Because their attitude matters a lot than talent. It's always like that. So that I am also not much familiar about AQs. I'm happy to hear the new term AQ, because we need to be adaptable. So what is the ultimate limit of happiness? Because it's an limit tends to infinity. There is no limit. Due to this topic, I had keep all the smileys as the backdrop, because we consider when we smile, we are happy. That is only a sign of happiness. But when we are undergoing a serious situation also, through the knowledge or through the communication, we are getting happiness. When we are having a good food, we are happy. When we are dancing, we are happy. When we are singing, we are happy. So what is the limit of happiness? Because after a particular level, beyond a limit, our sensation will be getting tired, or we will be we require a change. So is happiness having a transformation shift, a phase shift, or is it a continuous process, or what is the limit of happiness?
There is no limit to happiness. As I told you, if you are onto a specific thing, you will not enjoy it any further. You will not enjoy it any further. The whole idea is to see a positive situation in every situation, to see a positive aspect in every situation. It could be anything, the most serious situation too. Because the whole idea, when you say that my happiness is limited to buying a home, you're wrong. As I mentioned in my first question and as I answered, that doesn't stay. You are not happy any further, because many people think getting the best spouse gives the best happiness. But honestly, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Even they need to work. They need to work together. Probably the day one of marriage, like whatever has been attractive to them might not be attractive at their 25th or silver wedding anniversary. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. There has to be a continuous aspect of trying to see joy in every given situation, trying to see that, because the whole idea is not how depth you are into that. The whole idea is how well you are able to see different happy situations around you. If you ask me, there is no limit. You can always be happy with everything and anything in life. It's all with the mindset. It's all with the mindset. Now, I know a couple of people. Like who are happy for no reason. Let us look at small children. The small children are happy for no reason. There is no success, there is no position, there is no achievement, but still they're happy for no reason. So I think each one of us should be looking at positive elements in everything and should enjoy the small pleasures of life. I often keep telling people, use your five senses. Use your five senses to see, to derive joy from day-to-day situations. Like I make a wonderful meal and then I'm eating and I'm enjoying that. I'm very happy because I'm able to make a good meal for myself. Or it could be that your child is coming to you, or your friend is coming to you, hugging you or patting you on the back. There is an emotion that, yeah, he's there for me at given situation. I think the positive psychology states that gratitude is one of the most important aspects that can actually sustain that happiness in any human being. The gratitude for everything and anything. Because most of us, we attach that gratitude only to big things. Let us say that I buy a home, so I'm grateful to my father because he has given me money, or because gratitude is a word that has been used on huge things, big things. Gratitude is a very small thing that can be applicable for every small thing. We need to be grateful about. I always tell people that once you're sleeping, you have a negative mindset hardwired right from the evolution, because negative mindset is not really negative. It is a way of protecting yourself. Let us say that there is a COVID situation and I'm not scared, I don't have fear. You would have been very casual. Because I have a fear, I'm protecting myself. So any negative element or negative thought that comes to you is a way that you're protecting yourself. And that is how we have been hardwired. It is more an evolutionary aspect. It is a survival instinct. The fear is a survival instinct. A negative element is a survival instinct. So this survival instinct, we are so much hardwired that even if the friend calls and we are not taking the call, still there is a fear that what will he think about me? It could be, you can always make a call and say, hi, bye, and I was busy with something. How are you doing? And all these things. There are some people who also hesitate even for the smallest things and who spoil the relationships because of that. So I think the most important thing that we need to understand, this negative element, what we have hardwired, it's not wrong. We have been hardwired. This is a way we are protecting ourselves. I think we need to at least bring in some happiness quotient into it, some happiness thing into it, and then see things and enjoy and start journaling it before you are sleeping. Start writing it in a notebook. Today I was happy because I could actually see beautiful flowers blooming in my pot. Or you can say that I have heard some good birds chirping in my balcony. Or you can say that the bird that has put a nest in my balcony, the small birds have actually come out. You can make anything, but ensure that you're consciously bringing in this happiness and start journaling it. Today, for 1 month, I'm going to notice 5 things that are making me happy. Start noticing it. I think once we are noticing it, the happiness can be really made unlimited. You can go to infinity too. There's no way that you can stop.
Yeah, definitely. So I had gone to your profile. You had done a lot of counseling, like premarital and postmarital, lot of like divorce issues, lot of counseling had, and student counseling also. So during this pandemic situation, we had you were reading the newspaper. We are coming across a lot of socially relevant news, like a lot of family issues are happening due to the certain job for or the financial struggles, and somewhere, if they are in the worst situation also, the husband and wife or the family are able to rebuild themselves through the foundation of love. Whatever may be the hardship or whatever may be the struggles, there is a give and take situation. If the husband loses his job, the wife is supporting. If the wife is facing some struggle, the husband is supporting. But in a typecasted way, always the blame game start working. Like, you are not efficient, that's why you had lost the job. It's not because of the company. You are not good, and you are responsible for all these things. So actually that blame games loses our happiness. So what is the role of the exact foundation called love, which holds the mother son daughter love, the father towards the children, the mother towards their children, a family bonding? So what is the relationship between happiness and love?
Yeah, this is actually a very interesting question, in fact. I think the way I look at it is very simple. If you have to really take up the family culture, the family bondages in our country like India, we do share some happy moments. We do share certain things, but we don't make it a mandatory proposition. We don't make it a mandatory proposition. But if something really goes wrong, we ensure that everybody in the house hears that something has gone wrong, and we make a big thing. So any negative situation is overlooked and any positive situation is mostly underlooked. I'm talking about the small positive situations. Because of this, the whole family structure also is kind of negatively hardwired, that we over focus on the negative situations. One suggestion that I usually do give to the parents, of course, love do play an important role, because at the end of the day, every human being needs to have a safety zone or a net where the person feels somebody is there for me. I'm not all alone, right? There is somebody with whom I can share my emotions. There is somebody I can look back to. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be anybody. So the most important thing is, how do we really consciously build this? This is the important thing that I would like to talk about. The most important thing is, like I always suggest this, at some point of time in a day, or at least 3 times in a day, or 4 times, or three days in a week at least, as a family or as friends, sit together, discuss the most happy and the sad moments, and how did you handle that sad moments. Because most of the times children think that parents don't have much problems. They're okay, they can manage. The problem is mostly with the children. And parents think that they're studying and I'm doing everything for them. Why is it so difficult for them? Everything is put on a plate and served to them. And why do they still find it difficult to read and then to score better marks? Parents have a thinking like that. So I think as a family structure, there has to be discussion from all the family members. I think the adults can really start up the conversation. They can start off stating like the good things that they have found in this 3 days or 4 days span, and the things that have troubled them that in this 3 days, 4 days span, and the problems and the solutions that they are finding to find out. Unless until the children are very, very small, even small children, you can still ask them. You can actually create that habit in the children. So I think once the family, as people to people, there are emotions that are shared. Because mostly we don't share the emotions. The love is lost and the happiness is lost in that relationship, because not much of emotions are being shared in the family. I think it's time that the family sits together during the dinner time, or whatever the time it is, or at least they have some family time where there is some discussion that is going on. And most important thing, parents, rather being judgmental about the things, children has done something, rather than being judgmental and then, attaching a brand to the child's behavior, I think it is better to know like the perspective of the child, like why the child has done like that. Why the child has done like that. Most of the children, they hide the facts from the parents because they are worried that the parents would be judgmental about them. They are worried that the parents would not appreciate them. They always want to see that happy thing. I think it's time, because if you see if there is something good, they come and tell. If something bad, they don't say. Why don't they say? Because they feel that the negative emotion, the child is at fault. What they have now, what the family has to understand, any person has an emotional umbrella of both positives and negatives. Anything and everything can be discussed. I think once the family starts discussing openly about both the ends of the spectrum, that emotional spectrum, I think there could be more freedom that could be derived from the given situation. And children start feeling, yeah, what is love? Love is not just happy. Love is an ability to share what you are and to be what you are and to accept what you are as a person. That is love. Love doesn't mean only happiness. Love means everything. It is accepting the person holistically, the person as a whole. That is what is love. I am accepted the way I am, no matter I'm good or bad, no matter what I am. And that is possible only when there is an emotional spectrum discussion in the family. Once there is an emotional discussion spectrum in the family, I think that there can be better bondages, and children can actually look back to see, I can, because rather than they getting into some vices of drinking or getting into some kind of addiction, it is always better that they have somebody in the family to look forward to, with whom they can discuss. I think this emotional spectrum has to be built. Love doesn't mean happiness. Love means sharing both negative and positive emotional spectrum in the family. I think with the friends too, I'm just not talking about the family. You should be in a position to be yourself, to discuss what you are, to be honest, to be transparent. I think once we do it, and then the solutions can be given without being judgmental. If this can happen, definitely any kind of relationship can definitely bring in happiness.
So this is an exact good explanation that love is like an equilibrium which maintains the balance between all these problems in order to maintain happiness or whatever it may be. So my next question is that whenever there is a small quarrel between a husband or wife, or between the friends, or between someone else in the family or outside, we always see the one or the other person used to get suggestions from the relatives or the close friends. It's a cliche procedure. And sometimes the relatives may be triggering a little bit. Oh, you do like that, that is not the correct way. And they will be igniting the situation. And sometimes the person who is really facing the situation may be an innocent one. They don't know what is the real attitude of the other side. As you mentioned, the solution has to come from ourselves. We must know what is the exact solution. We will be getting infinite number or plenty suggestions from the outside areas. The external forces will be there, like the relatives, friends. They may be in good intention as well as bad intention. So how to relate or get the right thing? What is the intelligence required? Whether it is the intelligent quotient or emotional quotient or adaptability quotient? What is the sense of evaluation a person must have in order to identify what is the right thing to be done in a right time?
I think for relationships, EQ plays a very important role because a third person is never a great person to give a suggestion. Exactly. Most of the times when there is a quarrel between the family members or between the friends, the issues go hayway because of one big reason. There is an ego conflict. There is an ego conflict. Because of ego conflict, when we put forth our situation to our friends, we tend to be positive from our side. We don't say the negative things of our side. Mostly we don't do that. Even if we are doing that, we underplay it and we tell them, I didn't do a big mistake. It was a very small thing, We try to underplay that. We are not really genuine, in that emotional expression. And I think the first thing, if the person is already old enough, and if the person has a relationship, the first best thing would be if we can keep ego at bay. Ego at bay, most of the problems can be sorted out. Why I did that, and he is the one who has to come and do an apology to me. Why me? What did I do? I do. And the second most important, there are conflicts in relationships because there is a research that has been stated that you need to be a participative, you need to give an active, constructive response when there is a happy situation with your friend. So if your friend has achieved something, you share that emotion wholeheartedly. Don't have an element of jealousy in that. Don't have an element of insecurity in that. If you really notice, a huge success or a happy moment generally does not give that kind of emotion. There is a little element of jealousy. There is a little element of insecurity that exists in any relationship for that matter. I think the most important thing is when there is unhappy moments that are happening with yourself or with your friend, the sharing of that emotion has to be active, it has to be constructive, such that other person genuinely feels that the person is really happy that I have achieved something in my life. So the most important thing, first, keep your ego at bay. The moment you keep your ego at bay, then you would be in a better position to solve the problem, because when you take the problem to a third person, you are biased. You are definitely biased. You underplay your side problem and you overplay the other side problem, which is a very genuine behavior, very general attitude. So I think as far as possible, most of the problems can be sorted out if we put an ego at bay, unless until the other person is too adamant that he doesn't want or she doesn't want to listen to it, which again is a basis for a strong relationship. It is okay to apologize. It is okay to say no, because I often find that the relationship conflicts, the another biggest problem is people cannot say no when they cannot do that. So they are put up in a very difficult situation. They cannot say no, and they are put up in an obligatory situation, and they are doing it for sake of someone wherein they are not happy. And inability to say no to a given situation and continuing with that, what is the status quo of this person? Whatever is happening, the person is not appreciative of that fact. I think the other most important thing is ability to say no when you have to say no, because that is a very, very important thing. I have been training many people on in my happiness talks. Saying no is one of the important things that I've been insisting on. Don't do if you don't want to. Don't do that, because finally it is at the cost of what? At the cost of your mental peace. That is the third thing. And the fourth important thing is, in any conflicting relationships, in any conflicting situation, the fourth important thing is the power of how much words you are using on yourself, the power of self-talk.
Yes.
The power of self-talk. Mostly we say, I'm like this, I've been given like this, and my fate is this, my destiny is this. This is the way we start blaming ourselves on this. Let us not blame ourselves when we are not to be blamed. I think the power of talk is quite important. Initially, people might not accept. That's okay. But over the time, they would appreciate. If they are not appreciating, that's okay. Because the most important thing, are you in a profile that you can be positive on yourself? I think if these four situations are being considered, I think the relationships can be definitely built better, and definitely there is an acceptance. And if there are any issues that are coming up, one can come and say that, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do this because of so and so reason. I think the ego element goes off, I think, if you're open enough in the relationships by using all these strategies.
Exactly. That was a great explanation, and it's very socially relevant topic nowadays. And actually, there comes a question that we must be able to say no and yes with a time constraint, without much delay, without much hesitation. That has to come. Then only ultimately the result will be coming. And keeping mum, or we are just moving and we are hiding ourselves from the problem, we'll never find the solution. Because some of the problems we are seeing, actually it's a source of escapism. We have to face the problem. If we are not able to continue, say no. If yes, then the problem is solved. Otherwise, it's not going to end. So it's a quite good explanation, and it was quite convincing, and it was very clear also. So I think it was quite detailed talk, and I really enjoyed. And it's I am very sorry to say that I'm not happy to end this talk, because it's giving more happiness.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you are also tired because you are having a continuous counseling sessions. I know you were busy for the last couple of weeks also. But this session gave me a lot of happiness, and it will be giving more happiness to the people who are watching it. And though we can spread happiness, So the topic is very interesting and everlasting happiness. We are all fond of happiness. We are always telling heaven is a place of happiness. Actually, heaven is within us. It is the situation which we are living. We have to be happy with the current situation, not thinking about the past or future. Everything will be coming. Live in the present. Exactly, that is correct, right? So thank you, Dr. Kavitha,
thank you so much
for your for spending your valuable time, and hope that we will be having good sessions in future with a wide audience, and all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Hari Krishna. Thanks a lot for this.